The concept of legendary Pokemon evolving was, for a long time, the stuff of playground myth. We all wanted to see it happen, but it was simply a rule of the Pokemon world that legendary Pokemon didn't evolve. And then, Cosmog came along in Pokemon Sun and Moon and broke that rule, evolving into both Solgaleo and Lunala and introducing legendary evolution as an actual legitimate possibility. So, with that in mind, what would it be like if every legendary Pokemon had an evolution? Well, that is a concept that we are going to begin to explore today, as I am going to show you guys some legendary evolutions and pre-evolutions that I have designed with the help of Alestiva076, who you can check out with the links in the description. In order to cover all the legendaries, however, the idea is to make this into a series since there are so many to cover and too many for just one video. So if that is something that you would like to see, be sure to leave this video a like and a comment and share it around to help it do well. And with all that said, let's go ahead and check it out. So these cool legendary Pokemon we're about to get into today wouldn't have been able to come into existence without the support, in part, of today's amazing sponsor, Manscaped. I have personally used Manscaped products for years now and love them, and they just dropped a new one that is equally as amazing. Their new Beard Hedger Pro Kit is designed specifically for trimming and grooming your beard, and let me tell you, the quality is some next level stuff. Not only does it come with a beard balm, shampoo, conditioner, a comb, a brush, which is a personal favorite of mine, and even beard trimming scissors, but the razor itself in this kit is truly a razor of the future. It has 20 different length settings that are built into the razor and are selected via a length dial, so you can easily and seamlessly figure out which length you need in seconds instead of fumbling around with a million different length attachments until you find the right one like you do on other razors. It's honestly super legit, as is all the other Manscaped stuff I use. It's literally a daily part of my life, so if you want to grab the Beard Hedger Pro Kit for yourself and up your beard game, you can do so with the link in the description below. And not only does it support the channel, but when you use code HoopsVGM at checkout, you'll also get 20% off and free shipping, which is kinda wild with how nice this is. So give that a look with the link in the description, and a big thank you to Manscaped for supporting the channel. So we're not going to be going in any particular order when it comes to these legendaries, which is why we're going to be starting with none other than the Eon Duo, Latios and Latias. Now, we're going to be handing out both evolutions and pre-evolutions to the legendaries we cover, simply because one will often work better than the other depending on the Pokemon we're working with. There are a lot of legendaries, for instance, that simply don't have much room to grow, so giving them a pre-evolution instead makes a lot more logical sense. And that is what we're going to be doing with Latios and Latias, since they're both pretty full-grown already, and they also have mega evolutions to boot. However, I also just had a pretty good idea for a pre-evolution of these Pokemon in general, and therefore, I would like you guys to meet Latiat, the Eon Pokemon. Latiat is a pre-evolution of both Latias and Latios, and which one it evolves into depends on the gender of Latiat. If it's a boy, it will evolve into Latios, and if it's a girl, it evolves into Latias. And this is because these Pokemon are 100% male and female respectively, and are also one of the few legendary Pokemon to actually have a gender as well. Their gender is also significant to their designs as well, as it's why Latios has the masculine O in its name, and Latias the feminine A. So I thought it was a perfect fit to give these Pokemon a pre-evolution that could evolve into either based on its gender. Just like its evolutions though, Latiat's name is also significant and was carefully considered, because I wanted it to more or less match the names of the Eon Duo, but I didn't want it to include anything that was gender specific, since I wanted to leave that for Latios and Latias, since Latiat can also be either gender itself. Ultimately, I settled on Latios because it has the same lot prefix that Latios and Latias have in their names, and therefore helps to tie these Pokemon together. But instead of that gendered ending, I decided to end the name with the word tot instead, representing it as a young Pokemon. Latios is also primarily purple in color, because purple is the result of combining the colors of Latios and Latias, who are blue and red, and it's also the color of these Pokemon's Mega Evolutions, which I think also helps to bring everything full circle here, both with this design individually and with this entire evolutionary family. Type-wise, I could honestly see Latios being just a dragon type, and therefore allowing it to grow into the dragon psychic type of its evolutions. But it could also simply just be the same dragon psychic type as well, and I don't think that would be too big of a deal either. So you guys are going to have to let me know which way you think Latios type should go in the comments, and whether or not you think this makes for a solid pre-evolution. Okay, so since we started things off with a pre-evolution, I think we better do an evolution next. And the Pokemon I have picked for that treatment here is Marshadow. As one of the small, cutesy mythical Pokemon, and oh yeah, by the way, I will be including mythical Pokemon in this, Marshadow definitely has some room to grow and evolve. And as one of the coolest mythical Pokemon out there, it could definitely end up with a really cool evolution as well. With that said, meet Umbrarage, the Shadow Boxer Pokemon. Umbrarage is a true evolution and growth of what Marshadow brought to the table, as whenever Marshadow attacks, it goes into its Zenith mode, where its body becomes partially green. Alestiva thought it would be a good idea to base Marshadow's evolution off of this mode, and therefore come up with a concept where it has basically become fully enshrouded in this Zenith form, and as a fighting type, you could even say it has mastered this innate power that it has. Umbrarage would probably be the most fighty ghost type ever if it was real, because it also took the martial arts origins of Marshadow and basically made them more of a focus, to where this Pokemon is truly a lean, mean fighting machine, and it's ready to physically beat the crap out of you even though it is a ghost. However, as a ghost, it still has access to those kinds of powers as well, meaning that Umbrarage is truly a master of combat in both the physical and spiritual planes. The name Umbrarage is also just perfect, if I do say so myself, because it comes from the words umbra, meaning shadow, and barrage, as in a barrage of attacks, or a barrage of fists that it will send flying your way since it's a fighting type. This is essentially just a retooling of the origins of Marshadow's name, which comes from shadow and martial arts, meaning that it's able to have a unique name while also still being connected to Marshadow thematically. And it also just rolls off the tongue perfectly. Of course, Umbrarage is still a ghost fighting type as well, in case you were wondering, and yeah, that's pretty much Umbrarage for you. With that said though, we still have one more Pokemon to look at today. For our third Pokemon of the video, we are going to be looking at Keldeo. This might seem like kind of a random selection, but just like with Marshadow, Keldeo is a small little mythical Pokemon with a lot of room to grow physically, which makes it a good target for this sort of idea. Plus, creating a Keldeo evolution is almost like creating a secret, hypothetical Pokemon that we have never seen before, since it was said that Keldeo was found by the Swords of Justice after being separated from its parents, and I would assume that its parents aren't just bigger Keldeo, so you could actually make an argument that there actually is a Keldeo evolution somewhere out there, and we're going to take a look at what that Pokemon could look like today by looking at Keldeo, the stallion Pokemon. As essentially a look at what Keldeo's parents could be, Keldeo is basically just a grown-up Keldeo. In fact, that's where the name Keldeo comes from, being a combination of Keldeo and age, referring to its older age, as well as sage, since it is now older and wiser like a sage. Also similar to Marshadow, Keldeo also has an additional form of its own as well, known as its Resolute form. And in just the same process that we used with Marshadow, we also used Keldeo's Resolute form as a sort of jumping off point, and incorporated elements from it into Keldage's design. So it's as if Keldeo's Resolute form is just the beginning of what Keldeo is going to become. Since Keldeo itself is also already dual typed, Keldage keeps that dual type and remains water fighting type as well. I think Keldage is interesting in particular because it actually has some in-game background to it, instead of just being a for fun thing like the other two. I know Game Freak wasn't really thinking of an actual specific Pokemon when they wrote the backstory about Keldeo's parents, but at the same time it leaves just enough on the table to where if they really wanted, they could use that lore to make an actual Keldeo evolution someday, and I think that's pretty fascinating. What do you guys think about Keldage though, and what do you think about all of these evolutions and pre-evolutions we explored today? Let me know in the comments below, and once again, if you would like to see this become a series where we cover all the legendaries, leave a like and share the video around. With that said, I'll be back very soon with another video, and until the next one, as always, thank you guys so much for watching this one. I really appreciate it, and I will smell you guys later.